Hello, everyone. We're going to get started with our Monday motivation in just a few seconds. It's 10:59. I am glad that you dialed in. We've got a fabulous guest speaker today. Kelli is joining us, presidential founder and senior executive director, to give us some fabulous training. Good, Katie. I'm glad you can see me. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds. Welcome to each one of you. It's frigid here, 16 degrees in New Jersey today. So I was bundled up with lots of scarves and mittens today. I hope you all started had a beautiful start to Monday. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Color Street's very first Motivation Monday. I am really excited to begin this training. I'll do a little training today, and I'll also have some of our top leaders sharing the training. Good morning, Kelli. Good to have you on the call today. So just a couple of things I wanted to highlight before we get started. First, lots of exciting things happening. It's our final 2 weeks in our Color Fall promotion and the opportunity to earn some great logo swag and also to earn a place in the 2018 Leadership Retreat. It's also our first month for the consistency, the BQ consistency promotion. So make sure that you submit 300 in personal volume to be on track to get those gorgeous 12 glitter strips. They're beautiful lavender shade, one of a kind, and you can only get them by being BQ January, February, March. There's lots of time still, 2 full weeks to book and hold January nail bars and promote the winter styles and Valentine shades, and to support your achievement with those promos. So get on it today. All the details are in your back office under sales tools and stylist promotions. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about 3 traits or characteristics that are so important to support your growth. I've had the opportunity in the last 22 years to work in this amazing field of direct selling. And during that time, I worked with dozens and dozens of leaders. And I've seen many leaders that have just grown consistently with their business quarter after quarter after quarter. And what I've learned by working with these leaders is that there's 3 must-dos or must-haves within ourselves to support that growth. So we're going to talk about that. First one, number 1, is a positive attitude. It is absolutely vital to growth. So what do I mean by that? Often we label things as being good or bad. So let's say I get on the phone and I'm making calls to book nail bars or to set up one-on-one appointments. And maybe I'm not getting people, or I hear a no, and often we'll label that as bad. Or I go to a nail bar and maybe there's 2 people there, and maybe I label that as bad. Maybe I go to another one and there's 10, and that's exciting. Or I get a cancellation and I label that as bad. So every time we call something bad, it puts a negative kind of toxicity in our body, and it makes us stop doing the action. So what if from this point forward there was no more good or bad? Like every time we do an activity, every time we're on a training call, every time we have a conversation, our question to ourselves is, what's the good in this, and what can I learn from it? What's the good in this, and what can I learn from it? If this becomes our mantra, then what happens is our brain opens up to opportunities. I remember one year, a couple years into my direct selling career when I was in the field, and I had a January, and I had 12 parties booked. And at the beginning, the first few days of January, 6 of those canceled. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, have I lost it? Or is it still going to work? I was really nervous, but I thought, okay, what am I going to learn from this? And in that, I implemented some strategies, like I offered a gift if people held the date. I did more communication, just part of my normal practice with my hosts. And through that question, it supported every single month to have less cancellations. So again, when we ask the right questions, it opens us up to the opportunities, and it also keeps us wanting to keep doing that activity. Okay, number 2, we must be a student. We must be a student to keep our business growing. Often I think people come into direct sales and they think that, okay, this is just going to work. And if they have any kind of anything that they struggle with a little bit, or any areas that they need to learn in their mind, they think, well, maybe this isn't for me. And that's not the truth at all. I believe that every single person has the opportunity to achieve whatever goals and dreams they desire with direct sales. I think it's the most beautiful, amazing opportunity business that there is. I don't know of any other that gives everyone the same opportunity. But our thinking is a little bit off if we think we're just going to walk in. Because let's say you have the goal to make $50,000, and that $50,000 will support you to leave the job that you're currently doing, or it'll support, your family to a certain level. Now, to earn $50,000, we need to be doing skills that will support, sales and sponsoring in different aspects. Let's just pretend you wanted to be a nurse or a teacher or a pilot. Okay, are we going to walk into the hospital and put on our little, lab coat and be working with patients immediately making $50,000 a year? No, we're not. Nor are we going to walk onto an airplane and sit down in the cockpit and begin flying the plane. What do we have to do for it to be a teacher, to be almost any profession? We have to study and implement what we learn. Study, implement what we learn. Study, implement what we learn. And when we do that, we keep growing, and our income follows. What I love about this is you get to earn money right from the get-go, but as you keep learning and implement, it just goes up and up and up. And I want to challenge you that every single week you ask yourself this question. What's the most important area of my business for me to gain new skills? Okay, I want you to ask yourself this right now. What's the most important area for you to gain more insights and to have better results in? Is it booking nail bars? Is it connecting with prospects when you're out and about and setting one-on-ones or getting the product on it? Is it sponsoring? Is it supporting the people that you sponsor to hit their jumpstart goals? What is it right now where are you right now that you need to master a new skill to take your business to the next level? Write that down for yourself. And then the second question is, where am I going to learn some new skills to move forward in that area? And you have so many opportunities to learn. Okay, you've got your Monday motivation calls. There are so many stylists and leaders that have so many skill sets that have past experience. All you need to do is look in the Superstar newsletter to see our top sponsors and sellers and leaders. And look within your own teams to see who's doing, things that you want to be doing better. And all it takes, I find that this industry people are so willing to share, and there is so much room for all of us to have huge success that anytime I've reached out to someone and said, you know what, do you have 10 minutes for me to ask you 2 questions that I feel will support my business? When we do that, then that's how we keep moving forward. So I want you to be asking that question every single week so that you're learning new skills that you're able to implement. Okay, so we must hold the right attitude. We have to be a student. And number 3 is we have to have a clear vision. So let's talk about this one. Clear vision. When I first started in direct selling, my first year was just kind of all over the board. One minute, I was really excited about my business. The next minute, I thought, what am I doing here? Like, is this really going to work for me? And I'd go back and forth. And then I went to the first conference that I attended with the company I was with. And I saw that there were so many people having success, and they were professional business women. And they were just, making amazing incomes. And they were all different personalities. And it gave me the belief to go, okay, I can do this too. If they can do it, I can do it. And I walked out of that conference with a clear vision. And my clear vision was, I will leave the job I went to college for and replace my direct sales business with this. I went to college for radiation therapy. So I used to work with cancer patients. And I had a young baby and another one on the way. And I didn't want to put them in daycare. So every day I visualized that, I was being at home, having play dates with the kids, cooking dinner, and working this thriving business. By doing that every single day, it had supported me to have the will to keep moving forward, to go to work and put the kids to bed and work my business for 3 hours, and to do that day after day. And any leader that I've worked with that has gone the fastest to their goals, they have been crystal clear on their vision. So I held on to that vision. I worked my business each day. I was a student. I learned how to hold that good attitude. And within a couple of years, I left that job that I went to college for. Then my next vision was a new home. We had a 1,400 square foot home. It was tiny. It was 2 bedrooms. There was 4 of us, my 2 children, my husband and I. And I visualized this bigger home with a beautiful kitchen and a backyard for the kids. And I just saw it every day. Every day I visualized that, and I knew what income that I needed to make that a reality. And I visualized it each day, and that gave me the will. My why gave me the will to take action every single day. So a couple of years later, we moved into that beautiful new home, and it felt so good to have that for the children and my family and entertain. Then I saw a private school for my children, and we hit that. And then I saw college for my boys. And I'm happy to tell you that my youngest will graduate in May, and my oldest already graduated from college. So this is how it works. We only get what we can see. And one of the favorite studies that I have is I love to study people that have done things that are so far beyond our wildest imagination. Like I read books about the founder of Starbucks and Elon Musk and Walt Disney, people that what they created is so bigger than, I can't even wrap my head around it. And the consistent thing that I read with each one is they are so crystal clear on their vision that nothing stops them. If you've ever read about Walt Disney, you'll learn that he went bankrupt. He had people tell him that his drawings weren't good, that Mickey Mouse drawing was a dumb idea. When he had the vision to create Disney World, he went to his most, closest business associates and friends and family, and they all laughed at him. And he had to take that vision and hold on to it and go, to people that were outside of his circle of influence. And his belief was so strong that others bought in. Starbucks. When Starbucks started in 1980, coffee was 35 cents, at the gas station on a weird pot. And Howard Schultz's vision was so strong that, he got huge funding to start Starbucks. He had coffee shops on every corner. And, and the rest is history. Within 10 years, he was almost in every corner of the world because he knew exactly where he was going. So I want to challenge you, start right today. What is something that Color Street is going to provide for you and your family? Okay? What is it? Get that clear vision, see it every day as reality, and visualize it and start talking about it. The other piece to our vision is our language needs to match where we want to go. So from this day forward, no more I hope, or I want to, or I wish. No, I will. I will become an executive director. I will make $5,000 a month. I will be recognized as a top seller at conference. There's something called neuro-linguistic programming, and what that means is that our thoughts and our words create our reality. And I could sit with someone for 5 minutes and see really quickly whether they were going to be moving towards their goals or really struggle because of the thoughts that were going through their mind. And what's beautiful is that we can control this. Okay, so just to recap, everything's about attitude. We're going to hold that, what's the good in it, and what can I learn from it with every experience. Number 2, be a student every single week. Ask yourself good questions, and then look for information and implement it. And number 3, we must have a clear vision. So now I'd like to introduce our guest leader presenter today, and that is Senior Executive Director and Presidential Founder, Kelli France. Kelli is from Salem, Utah. She's been married for 18 years. She's the mom of 4 children, ages 6 to 16. Kelli has a background, her education background is in teaching, but she's actually never been a formal teacher. I know she teaches a lot with her businesses or with the Color Street, But she describes herself as a serial entrepreneur and has had many successful businesses outside of direct sales and a couple within, and a hugely successful business already within Color Street. Kelli was our very top sponsor for the company in 2017. She sponsored 70 new stylists from June 12th to December. She's also created and led a team that sold $1,589,415. So great job, Kelli. What an accomplishment. I know that Kelli could train brilliantly on any topic there is with direct sales with the success that she's created. But since this is the start of January and I kind of started my training with a little bit about mindset and goal set and how we succeed, I've asked Kelli to train on best practices to really balance your time to support business success. So Kelli, thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. That was awesome. I appreciate all those training tips. Okay, so yeah, like Melissa said, I am a serial entrepreneur. I used to be a photographer, and then I started mentoring photographers. The teacher in me couldn't help but teach. And then my husband and I started an online photography school and magazine, which we eventually sold. And then I became a Beachbody coach. And I ended up quitting last year because I got mono and did lip sense for a couple months. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I am never going to do another direct selling company again. I said that. And here I am. So yeah, I mean, I've been working from home for about 15 years, and I used to teach organization to photographers. I taught a course called Bond to Organize. I'm really passionate about time management and like using your time intentionally because I've done it wrong for so many years. And because I had so many mommy meltdowns where I just felt like I was either sucking at being a mom or sucking at being a business owner or both. And so I started to learn more about time management, and I'm excited to share some of my tips with you that have worked for me over the past 15 years. So, and I'm like the teacher in me, I like to do acronyms. So I have an acronym for you guys on these time management tips, and it is DARE, okay? Because I'm going to dare you to get your time, to be intentional with your time. So the first D in the word DARE is to designate. So two things. You're going to designate work hours and workspace. And I love this word designate because it stems from the word design, and I'm all about designing your life. And I think that word is just really empowering. So I want to, before we designate work hours and we designate a workspace, let's start with play hours because that's more fun. And I feel like we have to start with our priorities, and our priorities are typically the things that, you know, are like have to do with our families and things. So I want you to write down some of your top priorities, things that happen in your life no matter what, like, you know, kids' activities, church, date night, bunko night, whatever it is, workouts, all of those things. Start with those first, and you're going to create like an entrepreneur schedule or a mompreneur schedule is what I call it. You're going to start and put those in your day and in your week. So, you know, like for me, I work out every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. So put that in your calendar. If you have, you know, just start filling in your calendar with things that you already have committed to, things that you want to commit to. Like my husband and I have for the past 10 years done date nights every Saturday night. And so that's something that we don't really mess with on the calendar. So fill in your calendar with that. And then we're going to figure out your work hours. So I want the reason why, and in fact, if you don't do anything else from this meeting, if you will set your work hours, that will make a huge difference in your business, because it's so important to treat this business like $1 million business, because it is. And if you were the CEO of $1 million business, wouldn't you have work hours and designated work hours and a workspace? And you are, you guys, all of us have potential to make an insane amount of money with this business. And we are all the CEO of our own business. So we need to stop treating it like a hobby, start treating it like a business, right? So that is super important. So you need to determine kind of where you have time to work on your business, whether you work from home or whether you have a full-time job and have to do it after that. For me, I try to do at least 4 hours a day. I like to work part-time hours. So I work 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and occasionally Saturday mornings. And the thing about setting your work hours is that it's never going to be perfect. Like, you'll set work hours and then there's going to be stuff that throws it off, like Martin Luther King Day with all your kids home, or, summer, just things often throw it off, but trying to get back to those work hours as much as possible and adjusting them when life changes. So let's see. So, let me give you a kind of a day in the life of how I work my business. And it's changed throughout the years because my kids' schedules have changed and my schedule has changed. So for me, I typically, like I said, I work out 8 a.m. My kids we get up at 7, we do breakfast, scriptures, the kids get ready for school. My husband takes them to school. And then at 8, I work out. 9 o'clock, I work. I make sure that I take a lunch break, and I make sure that I am done before my kids are home from school. So I try to be done around 2. So there's like 4 to 5 hours right there. Again, there's always stuff that kind of gets interrupted, but I try to stay really focused during those hours. In the summer, that everything totally changes because all 4 of my kids are home. So in the summer, sometimes I will wake up before my kids and work for like an hour. And then I have strategic screen time is what I call it, where they have to do their worst first list. And they have to do, they have certain things they have to do to earn their screen time. And then we have screen time at the same time. All of them have it at the same time. And that's when I get in an hour or 2 to work. We also have quiet time. And I still do this with my teenagers. We still have quiet time at typically 1 o'clock every day. In fact, we had it yesterday. And I just think it's good for everyone. It's good for everyone to take a break from each other. It's good for everyone to have, some alone time, so some time to take a nap if needed. So I'm pretty hardcore about quiet time, and I was a nap Nazi when my kids were little. Like, you got to nap then. Other ways to get in, some work hours is school or preschool. Obviously, like if your kids, a lot of my kids would go to preschool. So I would work when they go to those like 2 to 3 hours. I knew I had just a little chunk to get work done. Sitters. I have hired sitters to come into my home while I was working from home and watch my kids for a couple hours, play with my kids for a couple hours while I worked. That was just really nice to know that like once a week I had a sitter come in and I would have a good chunk of uninterrupted time, because I think that's really frustrating when you continue to get interrupted. It's hard to keep the momentum going. It's hard to stay focused. It's hard to get things done on your to-do list when you are interrupted. So that's why, like I said, sitters, strategic screen time, quiet time, those kind of things can give you a little bit, can hopefully, again, no guarantees if you work from home, but other thing that has really, really helped is to wake up at 5 a.m. So I read a book by Mary Kay, and she talked about the 5 o'clock club, and this was powerful. This changed my life. And she talked about how you can gain an extra day. So if you wake up typically at 7 a.m., if you start waking up at 5 a.m. every day, for 7 days a week, that gains you 2 hours a day extra, and that gains you 14 hours a day. 14 hours a week. So that's almost like a full day that you can gain if you wake up early. Now, 5 a.m., I know that sounds painful, but I'm telling you, there's something magical about 5 a.m. I think that your sleep rhythms are not as heavy, like you don't sleep as heavy during that time, and so it's a little easier to wake up at 5 a.m. as opposed to 6. The house is generally quieter. Nobody's awake, not even like my husband. So, in fact, last week, my daughter was really stressed. She's 16. She's trying to figure out, teenage life and homework and all that. And she was really stressed about homework. And I said, you know what? Because at 10 o'clock, she wasn't really functioning well, was just kind of frustrated, which is why I think it's harder to work at night. I don't think you're quite as efficient. So I was like, you know what, why don't you wake up at 5 and get your homework done? So I woke her up at 5, and of course I had to wake up 5 too. And so she got so much homework done and was on time, which is rare for her, got ready on time to school, wasn't stressed out. And I was like, do you see how magical 5 a.m. is? So I'm a huge advocate for being in the 5 o'clock club. Even if you just do it once, even if you're kind of overwhelmed with life, even if you just do 5 a.m. once a week, it can make a big, you can get a lot of stuff done at that time. But yeah, when you have these designated work hours and okay, this is my chunk, then I feel like you're a lot more efficient with your time, because you're like, all right, on your mark, get set, go. I have 2 hours to work, and I've got all these things on my to-do list, and you're just more effective with your time. Now, a lot of people, it's the new year, everyone's buying planners and stuff, and I've tried all sorts of planners, all sorts of apps, and I have to tell you what has worked best for me for getting stuff done on my to-do list, and that is Post-it notes. Now, I use these 2x2 Post-it notes. You can't really see what's on here, but anyway, and I'll tell you why they have worked. I've used these for years, and I just use one. I don't have 50 all over my desk. I just use one because, let me just show you. My upline was so sweet. She gave me this adorable Kate Spade planner, and I thought, I should try it. And let me tell you why they don't work for me personally. And everyone's different, but I would have giant lists, and then I get super overwhelmed because there's 20 things on here, right? But when you have just 5 or 6 things on a small to-do list, and it's staring you right in the face, then you're a little more focused, because otherwise I'm just la la la, or I forget what I have to do. And but then I look down at my desk, I've got my little list, and I'm like, all right, let's power through this, because again, I only have a small chunk of time. And then after that, I want to be present. I want to be with my kids. I want to be with my family. So try the Post-it note. Let me know if you like it, but it's worked really well for me for years. Other things that help you to be effective with those during those work hours, and that is a timer, an egg timer. So this is just a cute little penguin one I have on my desk, but I really like using a timer, because I like an egg timer, because you can hear it ticking. So if you are like, all right, I've got 1 hour before my kids wake up, or before I have to go to bed, or my husband gets home, or whatever, you set that timer and it's ticking, you're going to be a lot more focused, because that ticking kind of reminds you, hey, you're on the clock. So timers are really, really effective. And another thing regarding your to-do list, it's really important to start with the worst first. Brian Tracy, he has a ton of time management books, and one of them is called Eat That Frog. And it's kind of around that whole concept of doing the thing that you don't want to do first, because generally you're going to put it off as long as possible, right? But if you do that thing first, and usually that thing is the thing that kind of haunts you, and that you're like, oh, I really need to get this done, but I don't want to, or you've just been procrastinating or whatever, doing that is going to make you feel so productive already. Just build that momentum. And then also airplane mode. Put your phone in airplane mode. It's easy to get distracted by your team, by your, Facebook messages, Instagram, emails. So put it in airplane mode while you sleep, put it in airplane mode while you're working, unless you're on Facebook to try to, connect and things. But that really helps you to stay focused on that to-do list. And then the other thing is to take a day off. I think, you don't want to burn out with this business. And so for me, I do no social media Sunday, where I don't even get on social media. And I can't tell you how refreshing it is. So I let my team know, guys, I don't work on Sundays. Like that is my family day. And it's just so nice to not have to feel pressure to check messages or respond to people or post or anything. So that has really made a difference in my life. All right, let's talk about workspace really quick, because we're only on the D. And I know I gotta move things along. Workspace, having a designated workspace is also super important, especially if you work from home. I used to work in the living room. I had like an armoire in the living room, and that was not effective, because that's like, you're like in the danger zone if you're in the living room. That's where your kids can climb on your back, or your husband's going to ask you questions, or your dog's going to, whatever. It's just prime distraction space. So I think it's super important to have a designated space if you can. And I've even made kids double up, share rooms so that I would have my office. And I love having at least one clean room in the house, which is my office. So, all right, let's move on to the A in DARE, and that is automate. All right, because, the older I get, the less space there is in my brain. So I don't like to reinvent the wheel. And so I'm a nerd when it comes to creating systems. Like, it's so important to have systems, because then you don't have to rethink about it. So, and I think it's super important when you are a new stylist and you're just starting to build your team, to start creating systems that you can share with your team, because as your team grows, your time, it's trickier to juggle your team and your Color Street business. And so if you can set up these templates and scripts and things for them now, then that's only going to help them, and it's going to help you grow, and it's going to, people will ask fewer questions because they'll know that they have all these resources. So that's something that I'm big on with my team. I make a lot of templates, for Facebook parties and, Valentine launch parties, and scripts of what to say, ideas of what to say, so that, and the other thing is they're also for me, because I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel like next Valentine's Day. I want to know, oh yeah, this is what I did last Valentine's Day. So just coming up with systems and things to help you. And doing things in batches is really, really important. You wouldn't wash like just one sock in your washer, right? You do things in batches. So it's important to do things in batches, like checking emails, check them at like twice a day or something, or check your Facebook messages twice. If you respond to every single message right when they get it, that's kind of that's wasting a lot of time. So my team knows that I don't respond right away to their messages, and half the time they figure it out. And so just knowing, like, I'll get back to you in later on today. You can even just say that, but you don't feel the pressure to like instantly respond to every message or every comment or every, things like that. You're going to be more effective if you do things in batches as much as possible. All right, so let's move on to the R, which is reevaluate your plate. Often we hear people say, like, I just have too much on my plate. So look at your plate and look at, how are you spending your time? And are you doing the right activities, or the money-making activities, the team-building activities, the things that are going to grow your business the way you want it to grow? Or are you spending a lot of time responding? Like, are you being active or reactive in your business? So you really have to reevaluate and see how you're really spending your time. And one way to do that is there is a software called Rescue Time, and it is, oh yes, Alicia said income producing activities. Yes, exactly. That's the word for it. There is a software called Rescue Time. I think it's just rescuetime.com, that you can put on your computer, and it will tell you how much time you're spending on Facebook, in an email, on, Canva or PicMonkey or whatever. It will tell you where you're spending your time, and that is very eye-opening. Because, yes, many of us work our business on Facebook and social media, but if you're spending like 3 hours a day on there and you feel like you're not getting anything done, maybe you need to reevaluate. So that software has been really helpful. It will send you like daily or weekly reports of how you spent your time. And then really it's about priorities. And so sometimes, I hear people say, and I've said this myself, where I'm like, oh, I just don't have time for that. And I think we have to adjust our thinking and say, it's not a priority, because everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, right? And so, is that a priority to you? It's not that you don't, because, we all have time. We all make time for things we want to do, right? So, squeezing in watching The Bachelor or whatever. So really it's not about having time. It's about making time and making it a priority. And then finally, the E in DARE is to eliminate and delegate. So I want you guys to say this out loud with me. I cannot do it all. Okay. I think women try to do it all. We try to do everything. We try to do it all perfectly. And it's okay to say, I cannot do it all, because we can't. We're not, like my mom always says, I'm not an octopus. I don't have 8 arms. We can't do it all. So learning to say no and eliminate some things in our lives that are not moving us towards our goals, or they're not aligned with our priorities, is huge to being a successful entrepreneur. I also think letting go of perfection. Like I was just talking to one of my stylists last week and hearing a lot of excuses as to why she wasn't even starting. And I said, I think what I'm hearing is that you're being a perfectionist procrastinator, which I know this all too well because I am one, where we want to do it perfectly, so we don't do it at all. And I've had to learn that 80% is better than 0% done. So, so my mom used to always tell me, start sloppy. And that's something I tell my team is start sloppy. Like, just do it, get it out there. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can refine it later, but starting sloppy is going to help you to just get things done. And that's how you move your business forward. You don't think about it, you do. And again, letting go of things that maybe aren't your strengths. So for example, like I'm not good at making cakes. And in fact, I made a cake for one of my kids' birthdays, and my husband was like, he's like, did you have the kids decorate it? And I'm like, no, that was me. So, that's not my thing. And so I've let that go. I'm over it. And I just buy cakes now. So like just letting some things go. You cannot do it all, and you don't have to do it all. So, like just take a picture of your nails, even if the lighting isn't perfect, or even if one of your nails is chipped or your hands are cracked or whatever, just start sloppy. And getting rid of clutter too, like in your surroundings, having like a clean office. Like I said, it's so nice to have one clean room in my house, but really eliminating clutter makes you feel so much better. And one thing that has really, really helped me is create a not to-do list. Okay. We always make our to-do list. Create a not to-do list. Things you're not going to do in 2018. Things that you are going to let go of this year, that you're going to say, you know what? I don't have to do that. I don't have to be the PTA president, and my kids don't need to be in 5 different sports. And you know what I mean? And then delegating too, just delegate things out, ask your husband to help you, have your kids help you. My kids have mailed out lots of samples and and the address is like chicken scratch. And I just think it's funny. I'm starting sloppy, right? And then finally, so we went through the DARE acronym, which was designate work hours and workspace, automate, reevaluate your plate, and then eliminate and delegate. But I also want to finish on you. So I dare you, and this is the part I think women really struggle with, is we often neglect ourselves when things get really busy. And I notice that when that happens, that's when I am the most like unhappy, is because I stop taking care of myself, and because I'm so busy taking care of my customers or my team or my kids or my husband. And so if you want to give light to others, you have to glow yourself. And so you've got to really fill your own cup, because you can't give from an empty place. So, it's kind of like in the air, like when you get on an airplane, they tell you put on your oxygen mask first, and then you can put on your child's oxygen mask. So really, if you take care of yourself, you're going to be so much more capable to take care of others, and you'll be a better woman, a better entrepreneur, because you're taking care of yourself. So make a list of like 10 things that make you happy or that make you feel more put together. Like for me, when I put on my makeup in the morning, even if I'm not going anywhere, I just feel so much better. So trying to make that a habit, or working out, reading a book, going on a walk, like write down things that make you happy, listening to music, and try to do at least one of those things for yourself every day. So that you are not neglecting you, because no one's going to take care of you. No one's going to like look out for you and take care of you except for you. So those are my best time management tips. I hope those help you guys to be more intentional with your time so that you can rock this business in 2018.
Kelli, exceptional training. So many fabulous tips.
Thank you.
And I want to remind everyone, if you didn't take notes, that moving forward, that you take notes, because it's proven if we take notes and look at those notes within 24 hours, we retain 90% of the information that we wrote down. If we listen passively, the studies show that we retain about 10%. So many fabulous, great tips to implement right away. I want to challenge you to take a few minutes to write down at least 3 things that you're going to start or stop doing immediately, so that you can make the most of the training that Kelli provided. Great job to everyone that showed up. Starting off Monday in the week, fabulous. And have a brilliant week, everyone. Kelli, thank you again. And we will connect with you soon. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.